This is a presentation I did for the Future of the Book Symposium held at Georgia College on February 2 and 3, 2011. My title is Book of Verb, The Social Future of the Book, comes from Boing Boing blogger and copyright activist Cory Doctorow, who in a 2005 interview while discussing how people are reading more and more from screens, suggested that book is not a literary form and not a physical object. It's a practice. It's a verb, not a noun. The social future of the book is suggested by Bob Stein, founder of the Institute for the Future of the Book. In a 2009 interview, he imagined that an author who we today give an advance to go off and write a book, how about instead we give them the advance and they go off and blog the book, and so that throughout the process we can be involved. And in fact, he's already trying something along those lines. Here we have the Googleization of everything on sale right now, which is from Siva Vaidyanathan, and he is doing that in collaboration with IF Book and has been blogging it since 2008. My first experience of the blogged book was The Long Tail, which was Chris Anderson's idea, and it started out as a magazine article, and for a couple of years he blogged it as he wrote the book. By 2006, when I bought the book, I was well versed in the topic. And lest we think that that would mean I wouldn't buy the book, after 2 years of following the guy, of course I bought the book. Let's run through a quick history of blogs. The first online diaries show up in 1994, the first use of the word Weblog, 1997. But at that time, contenders for the title were webzine or e-zine, and it wasn't until 1999 with the founding of Blogger, the first easy content management system, open and free for bloggers, that the words blog, blogger, and blogging enter the lexicon. Blogger would be bought by Google in 2003. From 1999 to 2004, there were a couple of high points where blogs got a lot of traction and a lot of attention, put blogging on the map. Senator Trent Lott in 2002 praising Strom Thurmond, suggesting that the United States would have been better off if he had been elected president, was reported by the traditional media, but it was blogs hammering at it that eventually forced Lott to step down. 2004, 60 Minutes did a piece on President Bush's alleged inflated military service record. It turned out at the bloggers, conservative bloggers, found that those documents were fake. 2004 to 7, niche blogs, the trend takes off. 2004, it's the word of the year. 2005, lolcats arrive on the scene. 2006, you are person of the year. 2007 to present, blogs go mainstream. During this era, major media companies hire up all the big independent bloggers. There's very few of the big ones left. And when they didn't hire them up, they started dozens of blogs. The New York Times company has pages and pages of blogs. As if on cue, this week we hear blogs dead, the end of blogging. So, why do blogs matter? Well, I think it's because they are one indicator of a shift in the means of cultural transmission. How do we tell our stories? How do we pass them on? In the sweep of history, we move from an oral tradition to a literal tradition, and I think now we're moving towards a social tradition. The oral tradition was all about telling stories, and those stories were less reliant on technical accuracy and more about whole idiomatic truths. That was the storytelling art. Along comes the alphabet, and with it the question of would writing aid memory or would writing harm memory? And this question is the same question we deal with today when we ask, is Google making us stupid? Or because our smartphones have all the phone numbers, we can't remember them anymore. Is that good or bad? This earlier question was definitively answered by the printing press 15 centuries later when we got books. And books gave us established facts and definitive authority, two defining attributes of the literal age. A look at the impact of recording on music performance will help make this clear. Prior to the phonograph, what concert audiences enjoyed was the variation of live and impromptu performance. After recording, what audiences demanded was a precise technical replication of what they heard on the recording. The literal era requires a precise technical representation of culture, and Google's going to give it to us. Google Books has digitized 50 million books from 1800 to 2000, including nonfiction and fiction, and a mathematician and a genomicist have come together at Harvard, funded by Google, with the support of the American Heritage Dictionary and Encyclopedia Britannica, to create Culture Omics, a cultural observatory. So Culture Omics, like genomics. And this is this is open to all of us. We can go to the Google Books Ngram viewer, stick in the words that we want, and it will chart for us how many occurrences of those words appeared over time. So here we have a popular one that was politics, culture, and sports. You see that sports, the green one on the bottom, stays pretty much flat. Politics started out at the top, kind of also stayed flat, but culture spikes, shoots up starting in 1920 and spikes, right around the 90s. If Google represents the pinnacle of the literal era, and I believe it does, Facebook is introducing us to the social tradition. Now, where the literal era is all about the product, and that product is the book, the social era is all about the process. And what that process does is it infuses the literal tradition with oral attributes. And the poster child for that is Wikipedia, which just celebrated 10 years a couple weeks ago. But wait, on the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. What am I saying here? Do I really think that the social tradition means that we're allowed to believe whatever we want? We can just all get together and believe whatever we want. And there are some worrisome indicators that, hey, maybe that's so, can be found in the anti-science movement. It's stunning that over half of Americans do not believe in evolution. It's a theory, they claim, or climate change. So what's going on here, and how do I explain that? What I think is that institution norms, traditions, and practice are only beginning to be established. We had a whole apparatus around our literal tradition, and we've yet to build that over the social tradition. And one indicator, one place where I think is an example of a success is Wikipedia. You will remember that just a few years ago we were hearing all the time about all the mistakes that there are on Wikipedia. We're not hearing any more of that. And that is, at least in part, because Wikipedia has actually instituted new practices, new procedures, established new norms to address those issues. So how does the social tradition impact books? Ray Kurzweil is a futurist, best known for actually exponential growth. He believes in complete exponential progress, and that the singularity, the machines are going to achieve greater than human intelligence in the next few decades. So Kurzweil, this futurist, he says new communications paradigms don't eclipse old. They generally expand the pie, and they are profoundly democratizing. So movies didn't kill theater, television didn't kill radio, the DVD didn't kill television or movies, and books are going to be around. So let's look at some expanded pie democratizing ideas. Book Brewer is a product separate from Borders, but has a deal with Borders right now, targeting bloggers where you can copy and paste your book into a web form. For $90, you get an ISBN number, and you can go on sale in Amazon, Borders, Barnes & Noble, and all the rest. Think about that. If you are a blogger with only like 1,000 people coming to your blog, and you can convince 100 of them to pay $10 for your book, you walk away with $650. Books on demand from the Espresso book machine. This has been around now for a couple years. What is significant about what's going on right now is they got a deal with Xerox, and now it's the ultimate Xerox machine. This machine will print, bind, and trim a 300-page book in less than 4 minutes. Expect to find one in a bookstore near you soon. To close, Brooke Gladstone of On the Media reads from a September 1902 New York Times article on unsold books, recycling of unsold books.
In 1902, the New York Times ran a piece called Books That Die, The Tragic Fate of Unsold Books. The writer, George Owen Koch, began by observing that a new book was full of possibility. Who knew how far it would go? Quote, "Some volumes turn to the right and follow that branch of the path which leads them to readers, with whom they remain for a while. Others halt and then turn to the left. Their way is short. In the undertaker's shop of the stock dealer, the books that have died in the nursery for lack of attention meet brothers who have seen the world and have been worn out in the service of mankind. But to the funeral director, they are all the same. Put into bales weighing from 500 to 1,500 pounds each, the books are sent on the last stage of their journey to the cemeteries of the mills, where during interment in great tubs, they undergo a cleansing and altering process truly purgatorial, to emerge free from stains of inky sins, but books no longer. As man begins movement toward the grave at the moment of his conception, so a book starts on its way to the boiling vats of the mill at the moment of its inspiration. Some volumes, like some men, reach a great age, yet final disintegration is inevitable. There are uncommon instances of the petrification of human bodies after life is extinct. There are instances of the petrification of old volumes after a period of usefulness. But these too shall pass away, for books and men are embalmed permanently only in memory.
So we end where we began. Is book a verb? Only if you use the slang definition of get the hell out of there. But the social future of the book, that's here. And we don't have to be afraid of these technologies. We should embrace and take charge of them. My notes, my sources are all linked from the original presentation. It's a Creative Commons share and attribution license, and you can find it at bit.ly/isbookaverb. Thanks.